Yo guys, how's it going? In this tutorial we have a Python challenge which can help us to understand another type of vulnerability, because in this Python challenge we can find the vulnerability with the name of command injection. And as you can see, it is in the we are in the Pentesterlab website. First I want to talk about a little bit about this website. This website is really helpful for people who wanna learn, who wanna start, who wanna exercise in bug bounty and web hacking, because there are a lot of exercise existing in this website, and you can do anything which you want. However, we have some free exercise and some pro exercise. The free exercises are for the people who pay for that, but the free exercise are for the people who just create an account for that. But for pro exercise, if you wanna you do this pro exercise, you have to pay for that before everything. But that's not a lot, honestly. If you really care about it, if you really care about your career, in my opinion, it's a good idea to pay. I think the price is going to be like $19, $20. I think that's good, and it's a good idea to pay for that if you really want to practice in a bug bounty, web hacking, and learn cybersecurity in the field of web hacking mostly. But I think there are some other tutorial about other tutorial exists in this website. So this website is not focused, is not have a focus only on web hacking, but like 90% of the exercise which exists in this website is for bug bounty hunters and people who want to learn web hacking. And all of the exercise are realistic, and it will help you guys to find out which part of the website can have vulnerability and what kind of vulnerability can have. And even we have some exercise which is related to the programming language, for example like Python, as you can see, like JavaScript, you know, even Golang. And you can do this exercise as well. And in this exercise, you don't have to exploit the vulnerability. If you gotta read the code and find the vulnerability, and it's really helpful, because you are going to, first you have to have the mindset of programming before everything. However, if you don't have, it will help you guys to understand, so don't worry about it. Anyway, it's really good resources for people and bug bounty hunters, people who are trying to learn web hacking. Okay, let's go. In this tutorial I want to talk about the Python snippet hashtag 09, and we have a small Python script which has the vulnerability with the name of command injection. And here the challenge is that the code review snippet challenge provides you with a small snippet of vulnerable code. We have to find the vulnerable code here. First, we need to know a little bit of Python, because we need to read this code. And if you don't know Python, at least try to learn between 5 to 7 8 hours of Python. Like, try to learn the basic. And if you don't have a mindset of web hacking, if you are going to go to the Portswigger and at least read article every day, it can help you to understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm going to explain to you from zero. From line 1 to line 3, first in the Python script we import some module which we need, like OS, like Flask for website, os.pass, isFileJoin, blah blah blah. And we have a variable with enough app in line 5, and it is only for creating website, because if you want to create a website using Python, you have different frameworks. For example, you can use Django, you can use Flask, and here we use Flask to do that. And app.roads, this is the path of the location, like the path in the URL is going to be like /files /username. And then in Python script we define the function with the name of list files for user. That means user can put his own username here, and then based on his own username, it's just going to show the list of the files which exist in this own username. That's why the name of the function is list files for user. However, we are going to explain more. And in this function, we get one argument with the name of username, and we create another variable with the name of base equal double quotation files slash plus username, and username it is the argument which the function gets. And first we ask if the base was false, that means the base wasn't exist. That means if user, for example, let me show you here. Here, this is the path of the website. For example, slash file slash, and here we have username. Sorry, let me see. Yeah, file slash. This is the path of the website. Username. Now user can change the username. Imagine that if user just going to write arshad_dev, and arshad_dev exists in the website need to print some information related to some info related to arshad_dev. However, I didn't read the rest of the code. And here it say if the base was equal with false, that means the base wasn't exist. And what was the base variable? The base variable was base equal files slash username, and username is dynamic. And what is username? Username is the value which user in the website can put in the path of the URL. Okay, and if this base was not exist, if this base didn't exist, that means if that was false, the value of that was false, do something. What is just going to do? It's just going to use the OS module to execute a OS command. os.system mk directory plus base, and I'm going to show you what is that. First, here you use os.system because os.system will help us to execute the OS command in our terminal based on our operating system. For example, if we have Linux, it's just going to execute the command in terminal, and the language is different. For example, it's bash, but if it's in a Windows, it's PowerShell. It's example. Anyway, and what is that like physically? Physically, if I'm going to open up my CMD here in Windows, let me show you CMD, and now the code which is going to be in the double quotation is going to be the code in the CMD in Windows, or in the PowerShell in the CMD in Windows, because we are going to run the command OS command. Now it's saying mk plus base, mk directory plus base. What is mkdir? Mkdir, that means make directory. If I'm going to go to a desktop, and then we have some files in the desktop, right? I can make directory, create directory with the name of, for example, Python 9 snippet. That's it. And go to my desktop. I can see sorry, I can see here Python 9 snippet, right? I just execute the mk directory command to create a real directory with the name of Python 9 snippet here. Okay, so that's not a big deal. And and here it's saying if the value was false, that means if the username was not exist, we are going to create the base. We are going to create the path of files slash, for example, username with the name of arshad_dev. If this arshad_dev was not exist, that means equal false, then we are going to run this system command and mk directory and create directory with the name of the variable of that is going to be base with the name of base. This is what I'm saying. Base and then f string to get the variable. Anyway, it's an example. So it's just going to, if the username was not exist, it's just going to create that username, create that path files slash username using a command, os command, and return JSONify version of that. We don't really care about this. What the thing which we care is line of 11, because the command injection vulnerability exists in the line of 11 because there is no sanitization or sanitization. I don't know about my pronunciation honestly, but programmer didn't sanitize the username value. That means hacker or user can put anything which he wants in the username, in the path slash files slash username. So if I'm going to put the os command, and that os command definitely it's not exist, and that os command is just going to move to the os.system and it's just going to get executed. That means we inject the comment injection. We inject a comment, and so we can do anything which we want. And what does that mean? But there is going to be a problem, because we need to, here, let me delete all of this. So here, if user can as I told you, programmer didn't sanitize the username here because there is no parameter, right? Didn't sanitize this base variable. That means user can put any username which he wants, and that any username is just going to get executed directly into the os.system. So hacker, instead of put some string as a username, is just going to put some real os command, and that real os command, it can do anything which hacker wants. For example, if hacker do ipconfig, hacker can get ipconfig information of the website, information of the server. So it's just example. For example, in my PC, if I'm going to do ipconfig, I'm going to get some information about the IP address, static, dynamic, and stuff, this stuff from my PC. And or hacker can just create a netcat. A hacker can create a reverse shell and a lot of things. So it's a common injection vulnerability, and it is a high severity. The severity of that is high. And yeah, I want to talk about another thing. How hacker can put the like multiple command inside the os.system. That, what does that mean? That means, for example, if here that wasn't make the directory, if here was, for example, cd, that means change directory plus base, and hacker is just going to say cd plus, and the base or the value of hacker is going to be, for example, netcat blah blah blah, IP port this, port that, with the IP that, for example, with the port of that. Is example. This value of hacker, which is the command, is just going to be next to the cd, and this one is not going to get executed. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, let me talk about another thing. If hackers say, okay, we have a base variable which is empty right now. Let me go to, yeah, we have a base variable. Hacker say, okay, instead of username, hacker put, for example, np directory archive. Okay, that's so easy, right? And hacker expect for the server, expect because hacker know there is a common injection vulnerability. Hacker expect that to server to create a directory with the name of archive, but the server is not going to create that. Why? Because if hacker is just going to put this next to cd, which I told you, that means it's going to be like that. cd is going to be like os.system cd mk directory actually. That means two different os command in a one line. So the command line or the server cannot it's just going to be like which cannot execute any of this. For example, right now if I'm going to go to cmd, it's an example, cdmk directory actually. Here if I'm going to do that, it's not going to understand which command, which of these two commands is just going to get executed, right? Because if I can put mk directory #dev in the base value, this base value is going to be next to the mk directory. And then if I'm going to do insert, it's just going to be the system cannot find the path. Why? Because it just executed the cd command. It just didn't execute the mk directory command. How we can execute a multi os command in a one line? So actually we can exploit the vulnerability. We can say cd, for example, whatever we want, test. Then we can do this. We can use this symbol, or we can use this symbol, or this symbol, or this symbol, or semicolon. Anyway, if you're going to search on Google, even you can get it here. How to exploit command injection vulnerability, and then I'm going to write another way. How to run multiple command in one line in CMD, because in this example I use CMD, but it's not CMD. It can be anything. It can be the terminal of the Linux. But here, if I'm going to go to this website, I want to show you the exploit. Who am I? Here. As you can see, this it just use here. As you can see, if you wanna run a multiple, let me read it. Ways of injecting OS command. Sometimes application block the semicolon to prevent attackers from the injecting command. We can try this. When we are going to try this, that means we wanna inject another command next to the default command of the server. What is the default command of this Python script? Is mk directory. We cannot change this. We cannot change this mk directory. We want to inject another command. So what we can do, we can inject our command, but use one of the symbol to execute both of these commands. That means the default command of the server or Python script, and the command which hacker want to execute to exploit the vulnerability. And what does that mean? The meaning of this is like and. That means execute mk directory command and execute my command. Okay, so hacker simply will say, okay, we have base files slash username, and we have os.system mk directory plus base, right? Easily. Hacker just going to inject the os command inside the base variable, and this base variable is a path of the URL. Is like the here, for example. Here we have files and then username. Instead of username, hacker is just going to put his own command. That means hacker is just going to say username is going to be like, for example, who am I? Okay. Then then the Python script will replace the value of base and put it in the os.system next to the mk directory, which is the default command of the Python script. And then it's not gonna work, because the server is just going to get confused. execute this command or execute this command. But if hacker do use semicolon, that means first execute the default command, then execute this command easily. Or hacker use this, that means first execute mk directory, then execute this. Okay, that's not too hard. If I'm going to open up my CMD right now, if I'm going to say, for example, I know r-a, right? R, that is a command which can we can get some information about the static dynamic IP address of stuff, and here internet address. If I'm going to write r-a ping 8888888, it's just going to be like r bad argument ping, because both of these are the real command of the PowerShell, or the real command of the CMD. Okay, but it's just going to get confused which one it's just going to get executed, right? But if I'm going to say r-a, then semicolon ping, no, because we cannot semicolon here. What about if I'm going to say r-a this symbol and ping symbol and ping 8, then it's just going to execute the first one but not ping. Okay, what about this ping and r-a? That means first get ping, then r-a. We didn't get the r-a neither. So what about r-a and ping? Okay, r-a is not right. That's a problem. Then, as you can see, because we use this symbol, first it executes the first command, then it just executes the second command, and then exactly in this vulnerability is exactly like that. If the hacker is just going to inject instead of the username, it's just going to inject the OS command like who am I, and before that use one of the symbol to say first execute the default command, then my command, so the server just it's not going to get confused. If I'm going to do that, say r-a and who am I, easily r-a, and then finally say okay, you are arshi dev /arshi. Or I say r-a, what about, it is not, do you think it is going to work or not? Who am I? No. What about r-a, two of these, who am I? Yes. So hacker, if hacker wanna exploit it, can use one of these symbol to inject his own command. And what hacker can do, hacker can create a reverse shell, can use a netcat to create a connection between his PC and the server, and can steal any information which you want, and even can install the backdoor and anything. So that's it. I think I talk a lot, but I just try my best for you guys to understand a little bit about the command injection and how it can happen in the real world. However, it's a really small Python script, but I think that's helpful if you are going to try some exercise which exists in the Pentesterlab. That's it. I hope you love this tutorial like before. Don't forget to subscribe me. See you later. Goodbye.